All right, in this video, we're going to be introducing the concept of functions. So what is a function in Python? So a function is essentially a way in which you can create a block of code that is able to be reused and basically processed multiple times in a row. So let's think of it this way. Usually, if you were to type out some code, you would say, okay, I'm going to write some code that's going to add one number to another number. Well, if you want to reuse that code, you'd have to copy it over and paste it again in the next part of code. Well, with functions, it basically allows you to avoid rewriting the code. You create your function that has the certain thing that it does and the certain block of code that it will run, and you can take that and put it wherever you want and still run that block of code again. There are a couple things to look at when it comes to the format of functions. So let's look at the format. So when we look at the format, the standard format of a function is you'll use the define keyword, so def. You'll put the name of the function. You'll have an open and close parentheses and a semicolon. Okay? Or a colon, sorry, not semicolon. I have a colon. Now, so if we look here and if we see this name of function, we can see that there is the underscore in between that. And what that's called is snake casing. So snake casing is the standard convention that is utilized with functions in Python. So if I were to create a function saying count numbers, I would always put the underscore between the two words using snake casing. Again, standard convention within Python. So if you are reviewing code later on, or you're reviewing someone else's code and you start seeing these underscores, you'll know that this most likely is a function. A couple other things within it, you can also put in doc strings. So what a doc string is, and I'll show you the format, is two sets of parentheses. Two sets, right? Two sets of open and close parentheses, perfect. And so what a doc string is basically allows you to note the purpose of the function. So let's say you create a function and you go and you work on another project and you come back and you're like, oh, I'm calling this function, but I don't really remember what it does. Well, in Jupyter Notebook specifically, if you type Shift Tab on the function, you can actually pull it up and see its doc string. So let's actually show what that looks like so you get an idea. So let's say I have my list. Okay, so I have my list and it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, right? And with my list, I want to append something to it. So I want to add something to it. So if I go Shift Tab, I'll see here on my doc strings, append object to the end of the list. So these are the doc strings. Okay? So let's create our own function. So we'll use the define keyword, and we're going to call this the hello function. Okay? Open close parentheses and our colon, and let's put in our doc strings. So my doc strings, I'm going to say this function prints hello. Cool, nice and simple. And what are we doing here? We'll go down here and we'll go print hello. Parentheses, print hello, run it. And now if I call my hello function, I will get, we gotta put my parentheses. When you call a function, you always have to put the parentheses at the end, otherwise you don't get anything worthwhile. Run it and I get hello. And let me show you what I meant by the doc string. So if I'm back on my function and I go Shift Tab, I can see that the doc strings that I typed in are now here. So this function prints hello. I show you that it updates as I run it. Put a whole bunch of arrows, Shift Tab, this function prints hello. Cool, easy enough. So let's clear this out. Let's create another function here. So we're gonna create one. We use the define keyword again, and we'll call this one add nums. Oh, actually no, you don't have to add doc strings if you don't want to. However, it is good practice to put it in there, especially when you're writing longer code and you're working for a company or whatever the case may be. It's really good practice to have. So we're gonna create a new function, and we're gonna put num1 and num2. So what this is saying is that for this function here, we expect and we need 2 inputs to come in with this function. All right? So this allows us to pull data into the function that we know is going to be used. So if I go now here, I'll add my doc string for good luck. Now let's do it. This function adds 2 numbers together. Okay? Perfect. And we're going to use the return keyword. We're going to return num1 plus num2. So if you notice before, I typed print. So I just wanted to run it, and it's going to print my string. Now using the return keyword, so the return keyword is really, really powerful. And the best way to think of it is the return keyword allows you to save the results to a variable. So what do I mean by this? So if I were to run this function, okay, nothing happens. I'm not calling it. If I go add nums, right, I'm going to put in 1 and I'm going to put in 3 and I run it, I get 4. That's great. Now, since I have the return keyword, what I can do is I actually can do this. So I can type in results and I can set it to equal the output of this function. And then if I go to print results, I get 4 as well.